Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hey guys.
Hello, this is Dave.
Yeah, hey,
Could you please rename yourself?
I will.
Thank you.
I assume I'm
Oh,
host 500.
Well, yeah, everybody join is host 500, so so I cannot. Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
All right, let me check out my video. What's a nice globe background?
Do that too, just in case. Okay, it does not look perfect right now. So
There we go. And I will try sharing my screen just to make sure that's going okay. Get rid of this stuff. Yep. All look good on your side, Eslam?
yep, looks good.
Right. We've had limited success in some of these little clinics, so we'll see how many people actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know when we did it on one of the last ones, I don't think we got anybody showing up. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna grab a glass of water real quick. I will be back
Okay.
in 2 seconds.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. I've got the post-COVID cough, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, annoying.
Did it take like the up away from the post cough? How long did it take you to recover? A week or?
It's been about 3 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
And some of the family I know, talked about it hanging on for weeks and weeks. So we'll see. It's not as bad as it was. It's definitely gotten better, but
Good. Yeah.
it's still.
I think honey would be great for these things, for cough in general.
It might be, yeah. Well, I found that Robitussin works pretty well.
Yeah, that's good too. Dayquil used to work great for me during the day. Like whenever it's bothering me a lot and I keep coughing, and I don't know what to do, I would just take some Dayquil and help.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that stuff.
You love what?
I love that stuff. I remember
was funny.
during the night. Yeah, I just because I mean, I try not to take medications in general, and I try to let my body do whatever it's doing. But I
Right.
found out that NyQuil helps you sleep. So
Oh yeah.
even when I feel like I'm getting sick, like I don't have to be sick, just feeling, I go ahead and take some before I go to bed, just to to make me
Let you
sleep.
sleep,
Then
right? Yeah.
yeah, and believe me, most of the time when I do it, or whether I'm sick or not, just the long time of sleeping does really help on fast recovery. And because I know myself, I'm not really the type that sleeps a lot. Like I can sleep 6 hours and I get up, and so I have to be careful when I'm feeling sick or something that I need to sleep long hours.
I heard, I saw Ramona's name flash, but I couldn't understand anything. So hopefully that was just a unintended unmute. Yeah, I was
I
joking
see.
with my wife that that cough medicine, the Robitussin, it says raspberry on the side. And I'm trying to figure out on what planet does that taste like raspberry. If I had a raspberry like that, I'd spit it out, I think. But
Well, it's 10:15, so I think it's in 16. So I think the meeting started, and I see a lot of participants, or some participants. So hopefully we'll get more. But
we're
yeah,
getting some people. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we're getting some. So that's good.
Well,
Awesome.
good. Welcome, everybody. I hope you don't mind our conversation about cough medicine and the joys of such things. So thank you for coming, and I kind of would like to see this become interactive. I have a presentation, but I imagine a lot of times people come to these with specific questions that they want to have covered, a little problem that they have. And so the way I kind of imagine this going is I have actually, I'll talk about the agenda and you can see. So I wanted to go through some of the new features that we just delivered literally over the weekend before the annual meeting. We got a lot of new things that came out, and I thought it'd be useful to have everybody be able to see what some of those new features are. They're really focused on the teachers, and there's a lot that's gone into some of these new releases. And then I was just going to touch base on, I'm not going to go actually demo all of the things that are underneath there, but just kind of remind you, don't forget this is here or this is here or whatever it is, and then leave the rest of the time for Q&A. So if there's anything in what I covered that you have specific questions on, or if you're coming to this session with a specific question, we'll have time to do that. And just remind everybody to go ahead and mute. I know I hear a little bit of noise there. You also have to excuse me, I'm getting over a little something. So if I cough a little bit, that's why we were talking about cough medicine earlier on. So let me go ahead and go through this. I think we've got a lot of time set up for this. So if there's any questions you have along the way, you can put them in the chat. Eslam, since you're there, if you could let me know if there's anything that comes up that seems, directly in line with what I'm talking about, and I can pause and perhaps do a demo or talk about it a little bit more. So with that, off we go. So the new work for teachers, we spent a lot of time kind of working through some of these things and hope they're going to be useful. In some of the sessions, I've heard people talking about setting up accounts for their students and so on. And that's really what a lot of this work was. Teachers saying, I need to know what my students are doing. Are they entering data? And in the current system, that's almost impossible to know what individual students are doing. The setup of student accounts can be a slow and tedious process. And then in some cases, we have either adult students, so we've mentioned college students or graduate students, or parents that have set up a Globe Observer account and they want to somehow connect to the school. And it's a little challenging to do that sometimes. So a lot of the work that I'm going to talk about here is really focused on answering these questions and what we've done for it. And I'm sorry, this is a very heavy slide, but I'll try to work you through it. So one of the big changes we've made now is that we are connecting student accounts with measurements. So you can actually now see how many measurements has a student made. It used to be they all went in under the teacher account, so you didn't know if student A did this and student B did that, you wouldn't be able to see it. But now student measurements are associated with the student account. And we've created screen names for every student account, so you can try to connect the student with the account and get a feel for what individual students are doing. Now, unfortunately, due to privacy rules, we can't have student names there. And so we have two options. One is a generic student account, and then the other is kind of a custom or fun name that you or they can set up if they want. So the generic one looks something like that GS F8S1T, this little thing over here. And the custom one, I knew that would happen. The custom one is Scientist Explorer 01, so you can choose a custom name. And we'll look at this, how this all plays out in just a second. But essentially, every account will have one of these two options associated with them, and you'll be able to see specifically what has that student done, have they contributed data to Globe, and you'll actually be able to see specifically what data they've contributed. Every teacher, My Page, has a new feature. It's I think it's called My Members, but it essentially lists all the students and student accounts. You can see quickly all the accounts, how much data they've entered. If they're in a Globe team, you'll be able to see that. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then you'll be able to click on the student account and see specifically what measurements that they've done. You'll also find that there's a new student account creation tool that we hope will be much easier and faster. You can create student accounts in bulk. Before, you had to do it one at a time, and it took a long time to create the accounts. So now you can create, I think, 20 or 30 at a time, and you'll see what some of that looks like. And then we've modified Globe teams to be able to see if a teacher wants to create a Globe team, anybody can join that Globe team if you choose to allow that to happen, so you can let parents join and others. And then you can see what's going on the Globe team with individual people in the team. So these are some of the new capabilities. Again, we'll look at some screenshots of them, and I can demo it if you're interested. On the data entry side, just a reminder, all student accounts can log into the Globe Observer. All data can be entered using that student account. It's associated with the school. You can do the 4 Globe Observer protocols, but you can also do hydrology and atmosphere. We just added hydrology last week. So any student account can do any of these things. They can create new sites. They can use the existing school sites. They can do atmosphere and hydrology. And then a reminder that Globe Observers, so if a parent or if you have adult students, they can join your school. And if you, as a logged in teacher or country coordinator, go to the school page, you'll see a referral code on the on that page, and you could tell somebody with the account, hey, go to that school. Oh, Dennis, if you could mute. If you go to that school page, enter the referral code and you can join the school. So if you do have that situation where you've got people with existing Globe Observer accounts, they need the referral code for the school, which only you as a country coordinator or a teacher can see. You have to tell them that, and then they can enter it when they're on the school page and they can join the school. So that's a way to connect people. And again, we'll look at some of this. And I don't know, Eslam, if you could mute Dennis. I don't think he knows he's got an open mic there. Dennis
I'll try, but I'll try, but I found that I'm not able to do it with everybody. So please just for everybody else, just check your mic and make sure that it's mute, please.
Yes. So we'll take a look at this. Also, current Globe Observers can join a team that the teachers set up, and we'll look at that too. So one of the additions that we've added, and I mentioned this as well, is screen names for Globe Observers. As I mentioned, both Globe Observers and students have a screen name option. There's a generic one, which has a GO in front of it for Globe Observer, or a GS in front of it for a student account. So Globe Observer account or Globe student account, followed by 5 alphanumeric characters. So it's a boring and perhaps difficult to remember, but it's generic, so it doesn't have any real, connection. The other one is this kind of custom or fun name where you could select a combination of words and create your own custom screen name. And these can be used to identify the students or globe observers that are on the teacher's page. So again, we'll look at that in a sec. So if you were to go on your My page right now, this again happened just over the weekend, you'll see that there's a new widget on the page called My Students and Team Members. And it looks like this that you see down here, close-up of it. Actually, before I go to the close-up of it, it allows you to create and manage student accounts, see the observations, see the screen names again. So we'll look at that in a sec. So this is what it looks like. And there's lots of kind of different things going on here. I think I have a slide. Yeah, there we are. That shows you what's going on. So on your page, you'll see all the student accounts and all the people that are part of your school. So it could be other teachers are on here as well. It could be a Globe observer who used the referral code for the school and joined the school. You can filter where it says all accounts. You can filter by students. So if you just want to see your student accounts, you can do that. Or if you want to see everybody who's in your school, you can do that as well. You can click on the name that's listed. And in this example, you could see Air Adventure 05. That's one of those custom screen names. And I can see right here that this particular person has done 2 air temperature protocols. They've done 2 observations, and they last entered data on July 20th. And if I click on their name, it'll go to their My Observations page, which shows you all the observations they've done. And we'll take a look at that in just a second too. If I want to create a student account, I can click on this button up here, Manage Student Accounts, and it gives you a few different options. You can create accounts, you can manage the existing ones, you could reset passwords and so on. And we'll look at that. And we've also set up this Create a Globe team. So that links straight over to the Create a Globe team page. So you as a teacher, if you want, you can create a Globe team and have all your students join the Globe team. If you choose to do that, you don't have to. With creating student accounts, you can create up to 20 accounts at a time and up to 300 total. I hope you don't have to create 300, but you could if you wanted to. So we let you create 20 at a time. The system will auto-generate the screen name and password for each student account. And the login names will be the same as the screen name. So if the screen name was Cloudsmaker01, the login is cloudsmaker01@globe.gov for the student accounts. And you can also assign students to a team if you want. So if you create a team first and say, this is my period 1 team, whatever you want to call it, when you create the accounts for period 1, you can say, put them all into that team and it'll automatically put them in the team. You can also export the list of all the student accounts to Excel if you want, and then you can have a list of all your students, all their screen names. And if you separately want to put the names of all the students in that spreadsheet, you can do that to keep track of it. We just can't take the student names in the Globe system for privacy reasons. So this is what it looks like when you go to create the student accounts. And again, if there's time, I can demo it, but you click on the Create Student Accounts. You have a drop down that says how many accounts to create. If you want to put them in a team, you can, you don't have to. And then you have your choice of using a fun name, which is these, like Cloudmaker or Beach Aeronaut, whatever it happens to be, or you can just use one of the system generated names. So if you don't want to have the kind of custom names, it can be just generic names. And the system will create all these and assign a password to them. And this will be emailed to you. So you'll get this in email. So you'll see all the different accounts and screen names. You can also export this to a spreadsheet if you want. And it'll create all these accounts for you up to 20 at a time. This is what it looks like just before it creates the accounts. And this is also the when you export them all to a CSV file. Like I said, it's also emailed to you. So if you didn't happen to export it, you'll be able to get it via your email as well. So the other parts of the student accounts, you can reset all the passwords. So you can go in and flip a little switch that says reset passwords. You can disable the ability for students to change their screen name, or you can allow them to change their screen name. So if I go back here, let's just say I've created all these accounts and I've assigned, and I know which student is which account. I may not want them to change it anymore. So I can go and put a setting in that says, don't allow them to change the screen names. Or I could say, hey, go ahead, change it to whatever you want. This is just what the system gave you. And they can go in, I'll show you how in a second. And they can, if I don't want to be Snow Detective, I want to be Bolt Wanderer 03 or whatever it is. I as a student could go in and change my my screen name as well. Where do you go to change your screen name? If you're logged in the Globe and you go up there under account settings on the top right, you'll see the screen name is right there. You click change and you can use these drop-down menus to change your screen name so you can see what it looks like here. And again, if I have a sec, I'll do a quick demo just so you can see what it looks like. All right, so that's it for student accounts. And maybe I'll pause for just a sec and take a look at the chat. And I don't know if there's any questions that people have or anything I could use to give it.
Dave, there is a suggestion from Sarah about having create a new team button there on the left side of the screenshot or that page.
Yeah, it was one of the slides back a few when you could choose the team to add a member to. It looks like 12. Slide 12.
Oh, if you could create it right there while you're doing it. Yeah, I got you. All right, let me just do a quick demo. Sorry, it's a little noisy there, but if I go to my page, so I'm logged in as a teacher right now. This is using my my teacher account, and unfortunately, this particular test school, I'm actually in the NASA Langley Research Virtual School for this test account, and there's a whole bunch of people in that virtual school, so I see all of them here. I can filter and just show the student accounts, and there's actually only one student account. So this is where it exists on your My page, and I can go here and say Manage Student Accounts, and I can create a new account. And I can choose, because I'm in a couple of different schools as part of this little test account, I'm going to go to my test school. And I can create, like I said, up to 20. I'm just going to do one. And I'm going to use the so-called fun name as opposed to the generic name. And preview. And it just randomly picked this particular one. And if for some reason I don't like it, I could say, pick some more. But Bedrock Spectator, and here's the password, and I can click Create Account. And now that account has been created. The login is, as I said, it's the screen name @globe.gov. And you can see the password here. And if that's all good, I can exit. And now I have Bedrock Spectator 01 sitting right here. And that's my student account that my student can use. If I want to go back and manage any of these, I can click that. And it'll take me back, and I can see here's Bedrock Spectator 01, and I can edit that or change the settings on it or whatever I particularly may want to do. And if I click on the student's name, this is the so-called My Observations portlet. So this will list specifically all of the different observations this user has. This user, of course, has no observations because there's nothing done yet. But to give you an idea of what it would look like, I think I have one here. Let's see if this will pull it up. Yeah, so this is actually my observations. So you see my name here, and you can get to anybody's My Observations. There's a user ID that you can use to get to it. But these are my observations, and so you can see all the measurements that I've done in the recent past. And you can also see that we now include all protocols, so it's not just Globe Observer. So if you want to see if I've been doing Hydrosphere, which I've been doing a lot of because we've been testing, I can get to any of the measurements that I've done in any of the protocols. So again, if you think of this with your student accounts, any teacher can see immediately, has has this particular account done any observations? And if so, it would list them here. And if I wanted to, I could click on it, go take a look and see exactly what they've been entering, when they entered it, what they entered it, what they entered, and just have a pretty good idea as to what's going on with my students. All right. Hopefully that gives you an idea about what's going on with that. Let me go ahead and move on to the next thing. So again, this is just some changes that have happened in the last few days to let you know about. We've modified globe teams. We found that a lot of people like to use the globe teams, which is great. We found that some teachers like to use globe teams to organize their students. So they might put some students in one team and some in another, or they might create a globe team and ask the globe observers to join it as well as the students. So you can have a combination of people in the globe teams. So we've done some changes to the globe team. One is we have a nice big map now that shows all the measurements that people in the team have done. You'll notice that the team, if you're the manager of the team, you'll see a referral code right up here. And you can give that referral code to people that you want to allow to join the team if you have a private team. If you have a public team, then anybody can just click up here and click join team. But if it's a private team, which is what I'd recommend for any school team, you've got this little referral code. Again, it's hidden to everybody except the person who creates the team. And so as the team creator, you can tell people that you want to join, hey, come to our team page, click join and enter this, what is it, 6-8 digit referral code. And that way you can join the team. So this is what the landing page of the team looks like. Further down is a list of all the people in the team. Now this is, I think, an actual real team from the site. And you can see now, if you're a trained globe person, you'll actually see the person's name here. If you are a globe observer or a student, you'll see the screen name. So you see what was something Bedrock 01, you'd see Bedrock 01 as the name over here. These actually have real people, and a lot of these people I think I know. You can see all the protocols they've entered data for, the number of observations that they've entered. And I didn't mention it, but up on the top, you see there's a date range. So if you're the creator of the team, you can set this date range. So if you want, you could set the date range for the school year and show how much data is going in for this school year, have the group of students and teachers or whoever it is you've got as part of the team, and everything on the page will reflect this particular date range. And then end of the school year, you're starting up another school year, you could put in a new date range. And from that point forward, only data for that particular date range will show up on the site. Now, other people that come to it could change it if they want to just sort of see. But as the team manager, the person who creates the team, you can set this. So anytime somebody goes to it, it will always reset to the specific date range that you want. So again, and then if you click on any of these people's names or any of the users' names, once again, it goes to the My page that you're involved with. And this is the My Observations portlet that we were talking about. So when you're logged in, you'll actually see a link to your My Observations page over on the left side. We're going to add it to the My page as well, so that you got a couple different ways to get to it. And as I mentioned, you can put in all of the globe protocols, and I think this is just a screenshot of Anna's My page. So you can see the clouds observations that she's been doing because it's linked to from that team page. And let me go ahead and do a quick demo of that one as well, so you can kind of see what that looks like. I think I'm in a team here. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. So again, I'm logged in here as the teacher, and I'm on my page, and so I can see all my students that I've currently created accounts for. I can also go to any team that I've joined, and so I have my SSAI team. And here's the magic hidden code if anybody wants to join our private team. You can see all the locations that people have entered data for members of the team. Here's all the people in our little test team. So you can see Cornell and myself are in here, among others. And if I click on anybody's name, like the one we just did, this takes you to my observations page. And there we are. The dates are there. So again, you can see all the measurements that I've made for clouds or land cover. There's the drying California lawn of my front yard and the tree up above and so on like that. So this is actually the land cover in my my front yard. So I try to take real data even when I'm testing. So again, teams can be used. Oh, here's a good example. So this is a globe observer that's in this team. So they chose to use the generic globe observer name. And what we did when we did this big push over the weekend, for all globe observers, we gave them the generic name because we didn't want to, force a custom name on people if they didn't want it or if they didn't want to choose it. So all globe observers and all student accounts right now have a generic name. And they can, if they want, go in and change it. But for now, this is what it looks like. So again, it keeps people's privacy. The screen names originally used people's email often as the screen name, and we didn't want to expose anybody's email. So they all have these generic ones. And I don't know who this is, but I could click on it and I could see whatever observations they've been doing. So there's a land cover observation. And I can look at it on a map and I can see where they were when they made the observation. I can see the observation and so on. So again, that's all connected up. All right, I think that is it for that. I'll pause again for a second and just check and see if there's any questions. Automated weather stations. Yes, we'll talk about that in a bit. Private teams to public ones. Unfortunately, we've never done that, and it's not a capability that we've built. I could see that one might want to do that. Maybe a good idea for a little feature that we should be able to add. But currently, if you created private, it's always private, or if you created public, it's always public, and there's no way to go back and forth between them. All right. Any other things? If not, I will continue along. Another thing, just to note, no, we have not yet made tutorials. Thank you. Cornell and I were talking about that this morning, saying we got to get new tutorials out. It'll be a goal for this week to get those tutorials out. So I hope by next week we will have the tutorials there, because yes, we need that. The hydrosphere protocols are now on the Globe Observer. I mentioned that just thanks, Peggy. I mentioned that just a minute ago. So if you haven't taken a look at Globe Observer or updated it in the last 5 or 6 days, you might not have seen it, but if you have, you'll see a little red banner that says now including hydrosphere. And when you go to do new data entry, you'll see both atmosphere and hydrosphere have zeros next to them. So that kind of indicates that you can put data in. If you go to create a new site or select any of the hydrosphere protocols, you can see the list there on the far right. The app is smart enough to say, oh, you haven't done hydrosphere at this location yet, so you need to set up your hydrosphere site first, and it'll put in the required fields for a hydrosphere site. So just like with atmosphere, the system's smart enough that you don't have to create all your sites first. You just go to wherever you are, you choose the protocols you want, and the system will kind of interrupt you before you start entering data to say, this is the first time you've done hydrosphere. Tell us about the water body name, the water body type, I think are the 2 types of required fields on here. And then go ahead and start entering your data straight away. All that just sort of happens on the fly. You also will see all your existing sites are all there. So you'll be able to see existing sites and edit and modify any site that you've already had. Also, all your student accounts will be able to see all that, use it, work with it, and so on. So all that's good. And I will tell you, as somebody who tested much of this stuff, I don't ever want to see freshwater macroinvertebrates again, because testing that is a pain in the rear, let me tell you. But it's there and it works. We also talked about bundles. Somebody had mentioned that, I think, on one of the earlier sessions. All the Earth is a System bundles are there, so you can select any of those bundles and You'll be able to, it'll automatically select the combination of protocols that you've chosen, as long as they're atmosphere and hydrosphere. We don't have the other two yet, but you'll be able to do that. And you're also able to create your own bundles. So there's a section that says My Bundles, and you could check whatever combination of protocols you want, save it as your bundle, and it'll be there the next time you come back. So you don't have to go in and check, multiple protocols every time. We're working on Biosphere next. We have a requirements document that I think everybody has agreed to. All the necessary parties have signed off on it. So that'll be our next set of protocols that we'll be adding to the app. All right. Okay, so let me just take a beat, and I'll double check in the chat. At this point, I was going to go more towards tools that partners and country coordinators would want to use or need, but I did think it was kind of important for y'all to see what was going on. So let me just take a quick look. Yes, so we've had the Davis Station question a couple times. Let me go ahead and talk about that, but I'll double check to see if there's anything else there. I think that's it. Yeah, okay. So with the Davis stations, I've mentioned this in previous meetings, and it's taken a little bit longer than I'd like, but it's very close, I can tell you that. We've been working with Davis, and they stopped supporting the traditional way that we had to bring data into Globe from Davis. They have maintained, so anybody who had it working, it will still continue to work, but anybody who brings in a new station, they will not be able to do that. So we talked to them about it. We have an approach, and I've had a couple people actually have volunteered to share their weather station with Globe. And I think I may have seen David Bidlowski on the call. He was one of them. And we are actually getting that data. We have the connection now. We've agreed to an approach to bring the data in. So we have the connection from Davis to Globe now established, and it works. It does what it's supposed to do. And so the second part of that is to modify the data entry forms so you can enter. There's a Davis ID that you get when you set it up with a weather link. So you'll need to get it working with the weather link. There's a free weather link account that you can get set up, and you can see your stuff on WeatherLink. I can show you guys what that looks like in a sec because I have mine on there. And there's an ID that Davis has with every site that they set up with WeatherLink. And we need to get that ID into the data entry forms, stored with our system so that we can pull the data into Globe. And that last part of modifying the data entry forms to get the ID in is not done yet. But the kind of the hard part, that API connection and how we pull data from Davis, is done. I was really pushing to get it done for the annual meeting, and it just didn't quite get there. Some guy decided he was okay to take vacation in June. I don't know how these guys come to these ideas. So we're probably a couple weeks away from it, but it is very close. So I hope to have that out, and we'll be sure there's a news article out. I'll send it out on the partner email listserv as well, so the partners know about it, because I know a number of them have been patiently waiting for us to get this together. But as long as, if you want to get ready for it, make sure you got your Davis station reporting to WeatherLink live, and then if you can see it on WeatherLink, then that's really what we need to be able to pull the data from Globe, and then you get this this ID from it. Again, I don't know, I could probably show you what I'm talking about just in case you don't have it. I think I have a WeatherLink thing up here. Sorry, all this Zoom stuff's in the way. So I've got these little Zoom icons are in the way. Let's see. So this is my weather station. It's a Davis Vantage Pro 2. And this is what I'm talking about. So if you can get it into the WeatherLink system with Davis, then I believe the special ID, I have to remember where it is. I think it's under the settings here. Yeah, there we go. So there's this device ID. That's the thing we're going to need for you to put into the forms in Globe to be able to send your information to Globe. So That's the key piece. But in terms of getting ready, if you can at least get your Davis Station reporting weather link, if you can get to this point and you can find that little code, then you're going to be ready to go as soon as we get the rest of the integration stuff set up. So, all right, I'm going to pause for a second and double check. Right now, so the question about other automated stations, we also have a partnership with Earth Networks. They have kind of a different model. They actually, Earth Networks, the parent company of Earth Networks, bought Davis, so they're now all under the same company. But Earth Networks does have a connection with schools. They have an outreach program to schools, and I believe they lease a weather station to you. They help you set it up, they get it ready, and we have a special connection from Earth Networks to Globe that we also support. It is kind of a special custom thing that, you know, was set up quite some time ago before Earth Networks was Earth Networks. They used to be WeatherBug, I think it was. And so that is an option if you want to talk to the Earth Networks people. They can get you going as well. Once we get this thing working with Davis, we have had a promise to look at some of the other weather station manufacturers that are out there. Tixon Butler with Wylaces has funded some 3D printed weather stations that are in Kenya. And we've started working with them kind of on and off to be able to pull their data, the 3D printed weather stations. And there was a couple of other people on the partner chat line that said they also had weather stations. And we have a generic API that we want to be able to allow people to use to say, hey, you too can send your data to Globe, let us know, and we'll get you set up. It's just not quite there yet. So the question about hourly data on the weather station, I don't know if we get you to the, it's every 15 minutes is what the data goes in as, and we do have every 15-minute data. I don't know if it's under, if you can get to it on the API. There's a couple different polls. One is like, you know, air temperature average, air temperature min max. And there's one that I think might bring back the higher resolution data, but it's possible it's not. I don't know if you can get to that 15-minute data. It's stored in the database, but I'm not sure it can. So if you want, Kevin, I can take a look at that and see if I can find anything more on that. I'll let you know. Okay. So hopefully that answered that. And I would switch over to some of these other things here, which are, again, more country coordinator partner specific. So we did make a change in this page, and a lot of people don't know that it's there. This is really mostly for country coordinators. It's a way to be able to see how things have changed within your country over time. There's this page, Impact and Metrics, and I can probably bring it up here. Let me, rather than show you on the screen, let me go here. So under the About section, there is a page, as soon as it loads here, there we are, called Impact and Metrics. And it's not part of the kind of usual tools that the country coordinators may think of to get metrics about what's going on. But Tony Murphy and a few others were saying, you know, it'd be really helpful if you guys could put in a start and finish date on these metrics so I could see how things changed over time. And you could see it's by region. You can also do it by countries or states in the US. So if I go to North America, which has Canada and the US, just because it's a smaller one, you see it's through this date, and I can go in here and I can choose a year ago. So if I go 2021, 6/30, the system now will do a delta. So it says from 2021 to 2022, how much has changed. And I can see now in the US, 166 schools were added, 470 teachers, you know, and so on. You can read through the numbers. I can also look at the data tab, and I can see how much data was entered, how much citizen science data was entered. I can look at the honor roll and stars and student projects. I can look at the training and how many training things have been going on. The mentor trainers is part of the big change in trainers, so that's why that went negative. And the master trainers and so on. So anyway, this is kind of handy if you want to know for any country. If you go to Europe, there's obviously quite a few here, and you can use the same kind of range, and you can see what kind of change has been going on. So you can, pretty quickly see what countries are pretty active in terms of adding schools, adding teachers, adding data, adding projects. So kind of helpful for, again, primarily country coordinators who want to get a quick look as to what's going on in their particular country. Let me go ahead and get back to the full screen. The other thing is just to know about the dashboards, and many of you have used these. There's one new dashboard that's appeared over the last few months. But again, for country coordinators and US partners, when you're logged on, make sure you click on that little icon up there on the top left. If you've never done it before, hopefully you will after this. And you'll see there's two areas, go to and manage. And under manage, you'll see users and organizations. We'll talk about that in a second. But there are 4 dashboards there that are available now. And if I go through them, partner dashboard is I think one of the more valuable ones. It really breaks down everybody who is in your either partnership or country. You can see how many there are at various states in their path through globe. It can be a little overwhelming when you look at this. But if you look at from the top down, the first 5 or 6 are kind of the path people go through with Globe. So how many people have requested an account? How many people did I review and say the account's approved? You're a real person. You can sign up for training if you want. Pre-candidate is for people who signed up for training. They've been registered in a workshop, but the workshop hasn't started yet. Candidate is for those who've signed up and are in the workshop and actually doing it right now. People who've been recently trained, recently e-trained, fully trained people, and so on. You can go down the list, and we've tried to put a description that sort of helps capture it. So for any of these types of users, you can click on the name and you can see the people, you can contact the people, you can edit their accounts. So it's a quick way for you to know who's in your organization and how can I contact them. This one might be useful to just take a look at just because I think there's a lot of value to it. So if I click up here on the menu and I go to the manage button, and you can see here are the different options. If I click on the partner dashboard, it will go through and list all the different people. And this is, again, a test account, my test country account. If I want, I can see all the people who have an account approved. So I can click on them, and it'll list all the people that in my country that I or somebody said, yep, those are real people and real accounts. I approve them. And if I want to, I can click here and I can email those people and say, hey, we approved your account. Why aren't you signing up for a workshop? There's one coming up soon in our country, or whatever it is I may want to do. I can interact with them, or I can go back and I can edit their account or whatever it is I might want to do straight from this little dashboard. Likewise, I can see all the Globe members. And if I wanted to, I could email all of them as well. For large countries, please don't, because we can't handle 20,000 emails going out. But for smaller sets of people, that would be something to do. Your Globe observers, how many people are signed up with the Globe observers, how many people are trainers, mentor trainers, and so on within your organization. So it's a quick view to what's going on. Next up is the trainer dashboard. So this is a new one, and there's going to be a session that a group of us are doing a little bit later to talk about the whole training process and what's changed and how does it work and so on. But if you do click on the trainer dashboard, you can see everyone in your country who has applied to become a Globe trainer or mentor trainer, and you can click on any step in the process that you're allowed to and approve or reject that particular applicant. And we'll talk about this in the trainer in this trainer session coming up. I can't believe, I remember if it's later today or tomorrow. I think it might be tomorrow afternoon. So there'll be details on that, but just so you know, it's there. And if somebody in your country does apply to become a trainer, you'll see it here. You'll see their name. You can see their application. And typically the first step will say approve or reject, and you can review it and decide whether you want to approve it or not. And then it works its way through the workflow. So the education working group looks at it, a mentor trainer reviews it, and then you have a chance to take one more look at it. So there's a path through it. The other tool that we have there is the workshop administration. So you can see, this is how to create a workshop. You can look at previous workshops that were created in your country or partnership. You can find people that you've trained in times past. So that's the workshop administration tool. And then there's also the school status report. There's another dashboard there that is there for, again, country coordinators who want to know, or partners, what's going on with the schools in their area. So on this particular one, just as an example, I can see there's 25 schools and 27 teachers, a lot of observations. Usually that means that there's a weather station if there's millions of observations. You can see 16 schools are not reporting out of the 25. 6 schools are currently reporting in the last 3 months. And I can see, how many observations they've submitted. I can find the teachers and email them. I can click to the school's information. Excuse me one sec. So that's the school status report. And then the other kind of capability that's in the system is to manage the schools and the users, as well as the content that's associated with either your country or partner page. And again, I wasn't going to go through and demo all these in great detail. I was going to kind of wait for questions and see if there's places people wanted to focus. But if you do go under manage, you'll see users and organizations. And that's where you'll go. You can click on organizations and you'll see all the schools that are in your partnership or in your country. And if you click on the 3 dots on the right, you can edit the school and change information, change contact information, change the address, whatever it is you might need to change. And likewise, up on the top, you'll see there's a plus symbol. You click on the plus, and that'll allow you to add a school, and you'll need to add, the name of the school and the address of the school if you choose to add a school to your partnership or your country. Very similar is the user side. So if you click on the users, you click on the 3 dots again to edit an existing user, so you can change their password or their email, their contact information, whatever it is you might need to change. And then you can also add a new user up here by clicking on the plus. So very much the same as organizations and users. And there's a form you'll fill out to be able to add the user information. And then finally, if you want to change the content on your country or partner page, first thing you need to do is go to your country partner page. If you look for it when you're not on the country page, you won't see this option here. It only shows up when you're actually on your country page or your partner page. And once you're there, you'll see this option that you see on the left, and you'll see there's content and data, web content, documents and media. So you can put in web content or you can upload documents. Over here, kind of similar to the other one, there's a little plus symbol that allows you to add news, events, or just straight up basic web content. So if you want to put a news article on your country page, Globe always appreciates it when you do that, because you can click a button that says, tell the people above you all the way up to the Globe homepage. And that way Globe may end up grabbing your news article or events and be able to publish it on the main site as well. So that's all under the left-hand side. You can see the news and events over here. And if you want to add web content onto a page, you click on this side over here. There's a little plus symbol, and you drag this web content display onto the page, and then you can add web content to that particular page. And again, I'm glad to demo any of this stuff in more detail. I just wanted to get the overview so people could see the things. And a lot of you have done this before, so I think you're familiar with it, but some may not have. But that's the quick view to how to get it. I will tell you right now that one of the things we're working a lot on is improving the time on the page. there are some actions on the site that are painfully long. And unfortunately, this adding web content is a painfully long process. And we have a couple people that are dedicated to making that better. They're working with the provider of the software, as well as our own team, to really try to optimize this experience. Because right now, if you click plus, it could take a minute for that to come up. And that's really just not workable. And nobody wants to wait a minute for the form to come up and be able to fill it out. So we're trying to get it down to a couple of seconds. We're doing a lot of tests in our lower environments to try to get it all to work as well as we want it to in production. And hopefully over the next month, we'll be pushing some things up that we expect will improve things, because it's a problem and we're aware of it, just so you know. So I think that's, kind of the review of all the different pieces. I took a little more time in the teacher area because those are brand new. I didn't take any time on some of these because these are kind of been existing for a while, but I'm glad to go back through any of these things that, you might have some questions on, or you'd like to see a more detail on. And I'll pause and check the chat for a minute and just see if there's any. Yeah, there we go, Barrett, good. So yeah, does anybody have any particular areas out of any of that, or maybe it's all good just to do the high level and everybody's happy with that, just to kind of remind everybody what's there, or if there's anything that you want to see that provides a little more detail on any of these areas, I'm glad to be able to go through that. Maybe I'll go through the trainer dashboard real quick just so you can kind of see. Oh, I don't have anybody in progress. Let's see. You can kind of see what it looks like. Let me try. Let me log out, and I'll log in as myself instead of these test accounts. And you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like across everybody. There we go. So I have a few more options, as you might expect, than a country coordinator or a partner, but I do have many that are the same. So this is the trainer dashboard. And again, any country coordinator should have this now, and you can see what it looks like. This is obviously across all of Globe, so there's a lot more things going on. But if I was the country coordinator in India, so here's somebody who applied from India. This is an old one, and that's one reason we put the dates on here, is because we wanted to track when do people submit their applications, so we can actually make sure they're not just sitting there languishing for some extended. Oh, there, I saw Ian, you were in here too, right? So there you go. So Ian's applied to be a trainer, and if as the country coordinator, I could come in here and click approve. I could look at your application. And then once the country coordinator clicks approve, then it goes to the education working group, who can click approve and assign a mentor trainer. And then the mentor trainer has the ability to submit their observation, and it moves on through the system left to right. So after the mentor trainer does it, then I'm looking to see, is there, oh yeah, I'm looking at just people in progress. So I look at all, and then you'll see a lot of people that have, further along the path than just those folks there. So here's some people that have all been approved all the way through the system. And there's a little color coding. The difference between these kind of light purple is these are mentor trainers as opposed to our regular trainers. So I can come in here and I can see, why is it that so-and-so has been sitting here since 2021? That's a whole year. We should contact this person and make sure they're getting advanced, because that's, probably not a good thing to have them sitting there for that long. So that's a trainer dashboard, just so you can see a little more detail as to what that looks like. All right. I am glad to spend as much time on any specific questions anybody has, but those are the key things that I wanted to go through. I knew there was a lot of time on this clinic here, so but I want to make use of everybody's time. So is there anybody have anything that they want me to go back through in any detail, or just double check on, or anything that would be useful? Feel free to chat it or speak it. everybody's happy. Well, that's great. All right, well, I'll
Well,
tell you,
for me, congratulations on all the new additions. They are fantastic. Thank you very much.
thank you, Maria. We miss you on the working group. Great. Well, I'll tell you, I don't, I'm sure people have lots to do, and I'm glad I'll stick on the line for just a little bit longer. If somebody was shy and they wanted to ask just a one-on-one question, I'm glad to stick on. But that really were the key things I wanted to get through, is just to let you know what was going on with some of the teacher accounts, some of those new features that are coming along. We will be working on, I think Tony said it earlier, maybe it's Allison, on restructuring of the site to improve the ability for people to sign up for Globe and to bring all these resources together into one place. That's another area that there's been a lot of questions about. Even sitting in these meetings, I've heard so many times, oh, I put it on the website, and I put it on the website, and I put it on the website. It's like, oh my God, there's like 30,000 different places that people are putting data on the website. And so we're going to work on consolidating that and hopefully bringing some tools in that'll help out some of that as well. So those are just a couple things that are coming up. So yes, thank you all. You're welcome to drop. And like I said, I'll stick around for just a bit. And if you have any one-on-ones, I'm glad to listen to any questions. Otherwise, thank you all for coming, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Dave, I do see a question from Bill. Bill Flynn, he's asking, what would be the best way to upload a teacher resource to the country page?
I'm sorry, could you say that again? What would be
Well, what would be the best way to upload a teacher resource to the country page?
yeah, excellent question. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to reshare my screen.
Thank you.
There we go. All right, so let me log out of all this stuff, and I'll log back in. And this is one of those kind of detailed areas that unfortunately it takes a fair number of steps to get through all this stuff. Let me log out. One of these things that you think, I wish I could make this a little easier for people to do. So I'm going to log in with my country coordinator account, so it'll be closer to what you all would see. And this works. This is the same for partners as well. All right, so I'm logged in now as my test country coordinator account, and I want to put a resource up for teachers on my country page. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my country page. So you'll see I leave this left-hand side open all the time, and I'll click on go to my organizations, and here's my test country account. So I'll click on that, or test country organization. And so here's my test country homepage, and you'll see there's a number of different pages over here, and I actually created a new page, but everybody should have one called resources. So I'll click on resources, and there's a couple different ways to do this, and I'm trying to think what would be the most direct. And unfortunately, this will also show what I was talking about the pain point of how long it can take for things to upload to the system. So right now, my resources page is blank, and I'm going to click on content and data. And let's say I want to upload a PDF file that I want people to be able to see. So I'm going to click on documents and media, and I'm going to do this a couple different ways, because off the top, I'm trying to think which is the quickest way to do it. So we'll try it this way first, and I'm going to try it a different way. So I want to upload a document. So I'm going to documents and media. And just like on all those other screens, there's a plus symbol up here with that you can use. So I'm going to click on plus, and I'm going to upload a file. And this brings up a form. The first thing on the form is to choose the file. And I have a little directory in my Globe folder just for such things. So I want to find something that's not too, so here's a nice little small Word document. So I'll do a Word document instead of a PDF. See, it's real small, so I'll upload quickly. So I'll upload that, and I'll just Don't have to put anything in there, but I'll go ahead and put it in there, and then I'll click publish. So it uploads the document to the repository in my country, and it can take a few seconds to do that. So we'll tell a couple of dad jokes while we're waiting for all this to happen. There we go. So here's the document that I just uploaded, and you'll start to learn in Globe that these 3 dots are the keys to the kingdom in terms of, you know, editing and doing various things with it. So I can see the details of this. I can edit it. If I want to upload a new one, I can do that. If I want to move it under a folder, I can create folders here and kind of organize my content. But right now it's just sitting there. So let me go ahead and look at, I'll edit it just so you can see what that edit form looks like. So again, if I wanted to, I can upload a new file, revise the comments, you know, whatever I might particularly want to do. I'll go back. If I want, I can view the details of it. And this is useful because, where is the, oh, there's the eye. Sometimes it opens with this information there, and sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it defaults to the way you had it before. But if you click the eye here, there is a URL that's associated with this document. So I can get that URL, I can copy this link, but one way or another, you need to get that URL. And that's the URL that points to this document. So I can type it in here and you see it just straight away just downloaded that document. So that's the magic link. So if you upload to the documents and media and you grab the URL, that's the thing you need. Now, you probably don't want to just have a URL and just hand it out to people. You'd like to put the actual content on your site. So let me go back to the country page and the resources. Oh, if somebody could, Laura? Laura, there you go. Thank you. So you see there's a plus here. I'm going to add some content to this page. And this is the thing that I tell you, that sometimes we get lucky and it goes really fast, and sometimes it can take a minute for this to show up. So maybe we got lucky this time and it was really fast. So I put in just a title for this chunk of stuff. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Let's call it something like that. And I'll say, here is the document I want you all to know about. And this is where I was saying there's a couple different ways to do it. Now, I copied that link, and so I have it actually stored, and I can use this little link button and put in the URL, and I'm done. So I uploaded the document. I came back to the resources page. I clicked add web content. I typed in the thing and I pasted the URL that was associated with that document that I just did. So that's one way to do it. The other is, you can see there's a plus symbol that kind of floats along as I type, and this plus symbol just kind of floats along with me. So wherever I am, I can click the plus. I have to close this to see it. Let me do it one more time. And this allows you to upload things like an image. So if I want to be able to put an image in here, a table, whatever it is I want to do. So if the thing you want to upload is an image file, for example, I could click that, and you see it opens up to that same directory that we saw before in the documents and media. So if it's an image, I don't know if I have any actual images in any of these places. Maybe I didn't upload any. I'll just see if I've got them. No, I don't have any there. So I can actually go and add an image. And again, I'll use my, here's a Globe logo. I don't know what it is with these little lines, because they always go really fast, and then it sits there and stares at you for 30 seconds.
Toying with you.
Yeah, it kind of makes me
they'll
think,
do
oh,
that.
it's done. And it's like, no, it's not. Okay, there we are. So now I can add that. And so that's how I can add an image to the page as well. But unfortunately for the documents, you have to upload the document, grab the URL, come back here, select the text, paste the link, and then it'll show up. And so now once I've done this, I can click publish, and maybe I'll get lucky again. Yeah, okay, good. So right now, for whatever reason, it's going rather quickly. Sometimes that can take, again, kind of a painful amount of time. So you can see that document link is right there, and I can click on that, and that'll download the document. So again, just to walk through it, over here, documents, media, upload all the stuff that you want to have linked, come back to the resources page. Now I can edit this and, look for those 3 dots. And right now things are going pretty quickly, so that's great. And then, add the links to whatever the things are that you've uploaded to do it. Or if it's an image, you can do it directly onto the thing.
Hey,
So I wish it
Dave,
was a little more obvious, but that's kind of a multi-step path. Yeah.
Dave, you can also embed directly a PDF with the entire PDF with the iframe right on the page.
Tell me about, what do I do? You talking about
I don't have to remember how to do it. It's been a while. I just know Cornell showed me how to do it. It's been a while since I've done it. You have to use something called an iframe.
Oh yeah,
little
that's something different,
content
but yeah, okay. So I'll just show you some other things you can do while you're on this page. Let me move this little thing, the Zoom thing out of my way. So if you want to get fancy, that's the web content display, and everybody has a resources page, and you can, add your content here. But there is another plus that's hiding up here. And this has a number of, they call it widgets. The software that we use, they call it widgets. And there's a lot of little widgets that you can use to do other things on the page. If you wanted to add another, it's called web content, you could add another web content display, as it's called, and drag it down here onto the page.
Yeah, that's where it is. I think he just typed in iframe right there.
Yeah, that would be the place. I was looking to see what else is there, but yeah. Usually there's a little more that's kind of obviously displayed, but I'm not sure why. I'll have to take a look at this, because usually there's more than web content display. I thought we added a few more in here, but we've got the asset publisher, documents, media gallery, web content display. So I don't see the iframe one right now, but I know what you're talking. That's where it would be right there on the iframe.
Oh. So Dave, while you're there, a quick question. So for example, if we add the document and media here, the one that's right there, would that display any documents and media uploaded to the country in the background repository, like in the background? Would it show everything that
you kind of want to be careful
right now? Yeah,
you want to be a little careful with some of these, because they if you were to put this one on the page, and I'm not seeing it happen right now, so I need to find out why it's not showing up. Oh, maybe it's still pausing. I'm going to reload this just to make sure that it's we're not getting confused there. If you do put the documents and media on, it could show your entire directory structure of every document and media that you've done. One that, if you want to get fancy and you want to play around, this asset publisher is a pretty useful one if you want to do something kind of fancy. So you see right now, it kind of defaults to showing every chunk of content that's uploaded into your country's folder. But you can customize this. And again, this is if you really want to get, more advanced. We use this asset publisher in quite a few places in the site. You can say, just show these documents in this folder, or just show this type of document, or just show things that are published by this person. So you see here, it's set to be, you can make it manual, and you could say, in the current site, you can do it dynamic, and you can put a filter, and you can put in certain rules that say, I just want the documents that have a title that says this with a tag that says that. You can tag the documents that you upload and only show certain documents with certain tags. So just say you put up a bunch of lesson plans. You could tag them all with lesson plans. You could put a page on the site that's called lesson plans. You could put an asset publisher there that says, publish everything in my current site that has the tag lesson plan. And this would customize the view on that page to show only things that are tagged with lesson plan. So it's definitely a more advanced thing. You know, you probably end up playing around with it a bit to see the various options and what they allow you to do. You could even change the way it's displayed. So you can say, I want to show the 200-word abstract. I want to do a table view. I want a list view. So there's lots of different options if you want to get into that level of detail. You know, again, where I might use this is I would go to my documents and media. I would upload 30 documents that were something special, topical, whatever it happened to be. And I wanted to create a page that showed those 30 documents. That's where I would use the asset publisher. I'd come in here and I thought I could set it to go to a particular folder. And let me just see if I thought it was here. No, not there. I'd have to take a look. I don't use it all that often.
A quick question, and then I think Dorian has had a question. I saw her raised hand a while ago. Is the same place that you just did, where the document and media, was that place that you can also add the discussion board? Let's say that you want to have a discussion board in a page in your country or your organization or somewhere. Where would you go to add that discussion board so you can have this?
we used to have, the system has the ability to put a discussion board on a country page, for example. We ended up removing that permission. We found that there were a lot of discussion boards in a lot of places that were not really being used at all. And so we ended up taking that widget away. So you cannot add that yourself. But if you have a compelling reason to do it, and if somebody really wanted to make a case for it, it's really easy for us as an administrator to do. I'd say, you know, send a note to the help desk, and Eslam knows, you know, you can talk to us if you can't do it as well, just to add that. So you definitely can do it. And I wouldn't want to prevent somebody from doing it if they really think that it will get used. You know, that'd be great to see it get used, but that is no longer a permission that we allow just everybody to do anytime.
Okay, awesome. So Dorian put in the chat that she will ask you the question later.
Okay.
It's fine. Okay. Is there any other questions? I'm looking at the chat, sorry.
Hi, this is Bara.
Hi, Barb.
Yeah, I put one question to the chat. If you can go back up to read it, or I can explain. And there were some more reactions. Yeah.
Can you explain what the country coordinator? Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. Let me see.
Thank you.
Country card should do to transfer user who initially explored Globe with a Go account, but later on got E-trained and all the capabilities. Yeah. Yes, that is unfortunately a common question. If you want to have somebody who has great empathy for that, Jessica Taylor is one who has that happen all the time. And we've talked a lot to her about how to make that process better. And even with changes that we've done just the other day, I think Eslam and I were working to transfer some people from Globe Observer accounts to train Globe Teacher accounts. So it's a little tricky. As a country coordinator, you have the power to be able to do it, and we can kind of walk through the steps to do it. But I'm just thinking about what the best way is to do it off the top. Give me 1 second.
Can I
So
say? how I'll do it, Dave.
Sure, yeah,
Please.
please do. And I'm gonna look up, because I literally sent an email to Jessica just a few days ago to walk through the steps for her. So I'm gonna pull up that email so I have that as reference, and then feel free to fill in.
Yeah, so Bara, usually when I ask if they went through the training, what they did with their account. If the account is really like they create the account and just the Global Observer, and they are teachers, but they didn't really do anything, like did not take a lot of training or just no training, I will advise them at that point to just I would change the email. I would change it myself in the help desk, so you can do that yourself as well. And I will advise them to just create a whole new account as a teacher and add their school. That makes things easier. But if they got in training, and as you said, they start having I think associated with their account, then just simply you will have to, pretty much, just add the school yourself. And after you add the school yourself associated with their account, and then from there you can, or if the school already exists, that will make things easier. You can just associate it with their account, and then just make sure to add them as a teacher instead of citizen scientist. So that will switch your account, and that will do it. But again, if you want less work, it's best to just have them create a teacher account if you can.
So there is another way that you can do it. And let me log in as the country coordinator here again. And I'm going to do.
May I just react to what Islam said? So thank you for that, for explaining that. But I think we actually encountered some issues even when we did it this way, that we added the school to the account, changed the email, changed the account from citizen scientist to teacher, and still the teacher was not able to do the data entry. It was saying that you cannot do that because I don't know what, you haven't been trained or something. That there was some kind of problem to associate, I think, that trainings that he did to this newly adjusted account.
I
I
experienced that in the past. Yeah, I experienced that in the past, but honestly, I saw that they were still marked as citizen scientists. So even though they were teachers, but they also marked as citizen scientists, I unchecked the citizen scientist, and that really kind of like helped, because I think when they are teachers and then they go, use the Global Observer app, everything is fine. But if they start as a Global Observer, and a global citizen scientist, again, sometimes the account, because it's limited, sometimes it does have these issues. And I remember once I removed citizen scientist, it really did help, and the account went fine. But I haven't seen that in a long time. Like this probably maybe happened a couple of years ago. Again, that being said, I always prefer if they can create the teacher account from the beginning, or even after they create the Global Observer account. If there is not a lot of things with it, I would rather just switch the email address, like maybe just change it to something else, like .old or something. If they want to use the same email address, just change the email address to something else, and delete the account and have them create a teacher account, and then they can add their school and they start, and just as a teacher.
All right, so I'm gonna try this too.
Usually you don't want to usually like change. Sorry, usually you don't want to change your email or start another email account just to log into Globe. I mean, for me,
I would hate to see people have to change email accounts, because then you lose the history of all that you've done too, and you lose your training records. I mean, that would be kind of extreme. I would expect that you as country coordinator or the regional person could edit their existing account and just change their email in the account settings, right? So that would be one approach. But what I want to, we'll try this on the fly and see how this works. So in this window, I've got a citizen scientist, Thunder Robot 02, and I want them. Actually, I should mark them. Let me log in as somebody else. I think I have an e-trained one. Let me do that one instead, because in your case it was somebody who was e-trained. Is that right? Or actually a teacher that was trained. Okay. Let me see if I've got. I know in staging I do. it'll probably be the same process, but
Currently, as far as I know, also internationals cannot,
yeah, unfortunately,
e-
e-training, we
observer.
were recently asked to eliminate the possibility for an international person who has been e-trained to do traditional globe. You can't even take it anymore. So there may be an issue with that because the desire was to allow the country coordinators to have control, and e-training would automatically create a school and a person without the country coordinator necessarily even knowing it. And so there was, we ended up removing that e-training to allow the country coordinators to, decide who should or shouldn't become. So let me show you one thing that I hope will work. And that is, so this is a citizen scientist over here, and I want them to be part of this school. And so what they should be able to do, I'm going to grab this school. So if you create their school, or if it already exists, for your trained teachers that are globe observers, and you want them to be in a school, if you can go to that school, you get that referral code. And I'll copy that. And actually, I'm going to copy this URL first. And I'm going to tell my citizen scientist, go to that school. And you see there's a button that says join school. That's where you need this referral code. And this stays hidden because we don't want just anybody to join the school. Only the teacher and country coordinator can see it, of course. So you see, they don't see that referral code. But if they click join school, it says, what's the referral code? And if I paste in that referral code and submit it, they are now part of the school. So I've taken their account as a citizen scientist and I've moved them into the school. They don't show up as a teacher in the school because they're not a teacher yet. But now I think as country coordinator, I should be able to go over to users and organizations, find their account. And what was this account? I remember what this one was. Check what the email was. There we are. So there's the account. And I'm going to go over here, and these are all the people in my country, and I'm going to search for that particular account. And if you haven't seen it already, put quotes. So there is that particular account, and you see they're now in that school. So by them putting in the referral code, they did the work for me. I didn't have to do it. I just said, here's the referral code, go click join. Now they're in the school with the email that they have, and I'm going to edit their account. And you probably know down in that Globe user groups is where you can change everybody's status. So I'm going to mark the workshop override. I'll mark them as trained. I will mark them as a full Globe member. I will change them to a teacher, or add the teacher actually to their thing. And if I want them to be able to change content in their school, then I'll click that as well and save it. And this will become the big drum roll. I'll have to change my citizen science account if this works, because now there'll be a teacher in the school.
And then Dave, can I say something? If you go up, you'll see also that the citizen is checked. So that's what I unchecked, and it did help. But when I had this problem,
we wanted to keep that checked so we could track how many people came into citizen scientists and then became Globe members. So there was a desire. But yeah, if this doesn't work, then so one of the things, this is what we've discovered that can take a fair bit of time, and it's one of those things that we're working on, is as soon as I made them a trained person, they get a My Page. They didn't have a My Page as a citizen scientist person, and that's where we've tracked down why it takes so long, is because it's creating the My Page right now, and that unfortunately can take a minute or two depending on how things go. There we go. All right, so now this person is a Globe member, trained teacher. They moved themselves into the school, so all I had to do is edit their account, put it over here, and then we'll see the drum roll here is if I refresh this. Now this user sees all these options, so that's a good sign. If I use go to, they're in the school, so that's a good sign. And if I click over here, I have a My Page, and I didn't change the name of the person. So you see they're actually still called Citizen Scientist. But if I go to account settings, I can go in here and change my name. Everybody that is a Globe Observer changes to Citizen Scientist Override. So that looks like that would work. So I think probably the most efficient way is, if the school's not created, create the school, find the referral code, tell them to go to that page and enter the referral code. And as soon as they do that, you can come in and edit their account and change them to teacher and trained and all that good kind of stuff.
And Dave, did you want to say something about, the changes that we have in the pipeline that are going to largely
Yes.
eliminate this issue going forward? Yeah.
Yes. So
Hi, Lisa. Sorry, Dave. Hi, Lisa. I see your name has not been changed, so just want to make sure people are aware that that this is Lisa Dallas, part of the
okay.
DIA team.
Oh, thanks. I didn't realize I wasn't listed as me. Okay.
So yeah, one of the things that we've, in part because of the difficulty in going through this whole process, one of the things that we will be working on now that we got the screen name thing out of the way is to improve that whole process, so that when you create your account, if you're a teacher, you can actually put in additional information and associate yourself with the school. If you're a Globe Observer and you want to then become a teacher, you can come in and say, here's my school, and continue the process. So whether you do it part way or all the way initially, you as the teacher will be able to continue that process and sign up with the school, sign up for the workshops, do all that kind of stuff. The whole goal was to be able to prevent this little weird space that people often are getting into. And they're like, oh, I'm excited, I'm in the workshop, I'm going to go do Globe Observer. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh no, how do we get them from A to B? So we've got wireframes of that process, and that'll be the next big chunk of work that we're going to be doing specifically for this reason. Yes, thank you, Lisa. All right, Eileen, I see a question.
Eileen, I see Eileen.
Yeah. Hi, thanks. Yeah, just on the same topic. So we have workshop training coming up in Ireland, and we think the teachers will mainly be using the Globe Observer app, just because it's like intro training and that's the most suitable for this type of workshop. But we really hope they will go on to be full, Globe teachers. So based on this conversation we're having, should I be setting up them as teacher accounts, approved teacher accounts in Globe before the workshop? Or do I just let them set up as citizen scientists through the Globe Observer app? Like what's the best thing that I should do here?
Yeah, until we get this new process in place where everybody follows the same line and we don't have these two divergent paths, because right now it's you're this or that. And what we're doing is bringing those together. So you're this, and then you become that, you extend, right? So it's not two separate paths. But for now, I would absolutely have them create a teacher account. And so they'd go into the Get Started, create a teacher account, put in their information. They can put in their school that they're associated as part of this process. And then you can mark their account as approved in the system. So if you go to, if you remember in the country thing, there is that partner dashboard. What you'll see is all of them will come in as account requested, and you'll be able to click on it here. You can double check to make sure they're the right people are listed, and all you have to do is mark approve account. And if you do that, they will be able to do Globe Observer just like anybody else. Their data will not go to the school yet because it's not an official Globe school, but it'll make life a lot easier if they go on to get trained, or they, if they do a workshop or whatever it is, they'll already be in the system, quote, the right way. It'll be really easy. They'll just become teachers in the school. So I definitely would have them, use the teacher account form if there's any chance they would become a teacher.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
And Dave, also Sarah has a question in the chat.
Sarah has hard questions. Let's see.
Sorry, Dave.
Coordinated.
Yeah, it was when you were talking about countries outside the US don't allow the e-trainings. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be, we talked about that as a feature, as something we might want to do. And I think in part that the answer is no. But I would love to see that as an available option. But apparently that involves higher levels of Department of State and globe policy and other things. So for now, we do not allow a country coordinator to say, I want my people to be allowed to do e-training. It's pretty much the United States and nobody else. But there may be a push by somebody that might allow something like that to happen.
Is it just that the e-trainings need to be translated?
No,
No, it's a different issue than that. It's that a country coordinator controls the schools and teachers in their country, and so if anybody can go in and get trained doing the e-training, then they don't have that control anymore on the number of schools and the number of teachers in their country. And it's written that way in the agreement that when people sign it, that the country coordinator has the responsibility for the number of teachers and schools in their country.
But just to clarify that e-training is available to users in those countries with a teacher account. So there is an option where you can be e-trained. You don't have to go to a workshop, but you have to have a teacher account. It's not open to citizen scientists. Yeah.
Scientists. Right. And they country coordinators can download them and use them in their workshops too, the e-training modules.
And that's for also for what Eileen asked about which one to have a Globe Observer account or teacher account. Also, like a big difference here that the Globe Observer account, they will not be able to take the e-training. While if they create the teacher account, they will be able to take the e-training at any point, as long as you approve them first, of course. As a country coordinator, you need to approve them, and after that, they will be able to do the e-training if they wish to. With the Globe the Citizen Scientist account internationally, they cannot do that. Only in the US they can.
yeah. So, and that's where this partner dashboard comes in so helpful is, you can see all the people that have requested to have a teacher account. Again, those who are approved. If you had some Globe observers who you now want to transfer over to become trained people, this is at least a place to see them all. So I can come in here and, there's a lot of Globe observers at times, so this may not be a real efficient way to do it, but you can see them here. And well, actually, this wouldn't do any good at all, wouldn't, because they're all named citizen scientists. Never mind, scratch that. That wouldn't do you any good. But at least on the account requested, you see the people who are requesting to join. And
Dave,
Eileen, you might recognize my desktop picture from when we were there. I just saw what was up there.
When you go back to the Globe Observer list, can you, and it shows you, as you said, it shows citizen scientists, but when you click on one of the accounts, it doesn't open the account, so you can...
Oh yeah, it will go to the specific account. You just don't, from this, you wouldn't know who's who.
You cannot tell, yeah, but at least if you open the account, then you have the information, you can...
I could see the email there, yeah. So yeah, you'll get there, but unfortunately from that other view, it's not gonna do you much good. All right, I see a few more questions in the chat. Any other? So let me read through that, Bara, just to be sure I'm clear. Yeah, I mean, if they are teachers, right? I mean, if they're somebody who's going to be teaching in their classroom, they're part of a formal, or I suppose it could be informal education as well. At this point, yeah, have them sign up for a teacher account, and you maintain the control, right? Because you have the option to look at these account requested and decide is that somebody that I believe is a teacher and is actually going to go do good things? And if you do, then you can approve that and get them to account approved, and then they can continue along their Globe journey from there. But yeah, the key is, is it somebody who would benefit from a teacher account? Think My Page, think student accounts, think tracking their measurements associated with the school. Do you trust them to not do something that they shouldn't do, right? Says anybody you mark as approved is on the path to have a My Page and post content on the site and have a school and create whatever name school they want. So it's always important that we have, some control over going from that account requested to account approved. It's an important step.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I think there is no trust issue in our case. It's just that basically the Globe Observer was such a nice tool to promote Globe that I think many coordinators use that to promote Globe, to introduce Globe to teachers.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where it, comes from.
Makes sense. Yeah. And that's part of one of the steps we're going to add is something about, are you a Globe observer, but want to be a Globe teacher? Something like that you could click on, and then it'll take you through the second half of the process to say, enter your school, enter your information, and we'll get back to you. Your country coordinator will contact you. All right, great questions. It's always nice to have, to get in some of the details of these things too, that I think everybody, if one person asks the question, there's 20 others that are probably thinking about it. So I see the comment from Christianis about Latvia. There are some E-Train teachers that are out there because we did allow this to happen for a couple of years, that anybody could take E-Training and become a Globe teacher. And that's kind of what led to the question about should we allow that. So every country might have some number of E-Train teachers, but we did change that probably about 6 months ago with kind of an evaluation of the country to country agreements and ensuring that country coordinators really should have ownership and control. And the E-Training did not allow that. So,
Dave, are you talking about citizen scientists or teachers?
Well, we used to allow anybody to do E-Training.
Anybody.
Right. So now we don't. Yeah.
Currently,
go ahead.
only teachers, right? Only teachers right now. Even international teachers can take the E-Training, right? Or cannot.
Well, I actually was a little surprised. I didn't think we allowed that at all, but I know a couple people said it with great confidence. So I was actually thinking I'm going to go back and check that at some point. I don't.
Okay.
If we're a teacher, account approved international, do we allow you to take E-Training? And I'm
because they are approved by the country coordinator, so they will not. If they are not approved by the country coordinator, they will not be able to take the E-Training. So they have to be approved first by the country coordinator. So I think that's fine. Yeah,
you're probably right, but I just wasn't sure. I think I had a account in here that I used to test that. Let me go answer a couple questions. So I saw Christianis had some question. I hope I said your name right. Chris?
I just wanted to clarify the situation. This one teacher we have E-trained. It happened right before pandemic, so maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It happens like Islam described. She requested this teacher account. I approved it as country coordinator, and then they were taking this E-training and got it done, and now she is a trainer. She's a teacher and working at school. So it was in this way.
Yes. So that the change we made was within the last 6 months. It was fairly recent. So if that happened pre-pandemic, again, everybody here is saying that they're pretty confident that if you mark them as account approved, they can then do e-training internationally. And I'm just pausing on that for some reason. I want to check that just to triple check. But it seems like a lot of people think that's the case. So hopefully that is the case. Once you as a country coordinator mark them as account approved, they can go and take e-training.
Yeah, because it's like you approving them to go to a workshop. You're approving them as the country coordinator, so you're accounting for them within your overall number of schools and teachers as well, right?
Logically,
So,
that makes sense. I just wasn't 100%
I
sure
think
that
that's
was the
right
way it was
too, but
actually
yeah.
implemented, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with the concept.
It's definitely the way we have it documented, and I guess the only limitation is whether the materials are available in the language that you want if you're not English speaking.
Right, and I'll let me mention that real quick, because there's been a fair bit of work on that, just so you can double check that. So you know, as you all know, anybody can look at the e-training material. You don't even need to be logged in to see the e-training material. So if I go to Atmosphere, you know, I can download the module, but I won't be able to actually. I think maybe I'm logged in as a country coordinator right now. But which one? I'm trying to remember where the Spanish is here. Oh no, it's the assessment tests that are. Yeah, there we are. So we did work with some folks in the Latin America, Caribbean region, and they translated a large number, perhaps all of the assessment tests. So right now, if you are approved to take the tests, we do have Spanish and English, and frankly, there's no reason why we couldn't add others. So if for some reason in your country, your language, you'd like to go translate a lot of these assessment tests, we can always accommodate that. Sandro, you've had your hand up for a while there. Let me make sure I get to you.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Dave. I want to come back. I would like to come back to the Bara's question, because I think it's a general question, it's a worldwide question, because we are only 33 people, and there are a lot of country coordinators that are not here discussing with us. Don't you think that a document could make clear how to behave in the case that teachers became scientists, global observers, and later they want to become teacher trained? So I think that a small document, not a big document, but some few guidelines could help us without discussing for hours in these topics.
You don't want to hear me talk about it for hours? I don't understand.
No. It's a pleasure to hear you and Aslam and Tony and Lynn, but I think I'm talking about people that are not with us, and we know, Bara said it, and Zoran too, that a lot of people are becoming scientists, global service scientists, citizen scientists, and after that, this is a catalyzer to become a globe teacher.
Yep. So you know, as Lisa was talking about, we have kind of the next step of work is to simplify that process and make it more clear if you started as a globe observer, citizen scientist, how I can then continue to be a teacher. So we are working on a path to make that much clearer, but you're right, in the meantime, to have something, I was talking to Cornell, who also helps run this system with me, and he had put together a step-by-step for teachers that was also going to be up on the site, but we were saying we should put this out now so that, you know, teachers are clear too, that what do I do? What's my next step in the process? Now I've been trained, what else can I do? And so I think a couple of those as just one-page flyers that you could have, you know, just a simple little one-page thing with, here are the 4 steps you need to know to do this, would be really valuable. And I'm sure if we did that, we could get it to Tony and and his team, and they could get it out to all the region and country coordinators. So I think that's a great idea.
We can
Well,
put
and
it up.
actually, in Cornell's session that ran concurrent with this one, that list is in that presentation. I don't know when these are going
yes.
to go up on the website, but certainly it should go on the website, but people can get a jump on it if they download his presentation.
Yes, that was
We
the
could-
list. I didn't know he had included it. That's great.
We could put it in a number of different spots too on the website. There's one pagers already up there about the program, and probably then in some of the areas around the specific users and so on. So we could, there's certainly a number of places that it could be linked to. So
Yeah. The other, I mean, I've got my my little notepad of lots of ideas that I'm is I hearing people say, and I'm writing down a lot of these. So really appreciate the feedback too. All right. Does anybody else have their hand up, or am I missing anything in the chat? I think we ended up probably using a good chunk of this time. So I'll see if anybody has anything.
I agree with that. Earlier, like half an hour ago, you mentioned that we could stick around for a few minutes, but that seems like the questions brought more questions. So that was really good.
Yeah. No, it's great, because that's really what this time is for, is to have a chance to just talk through questions and issues. And, as Sarah brought up, and then Bara said, and then somebody else I saw in the chat said, yeah, me too. That's where we hear where the pain is, and that's where we know we need to spend time and resources to improve it. And this particular area of getting Globe observers to becoming teachers it's a great thing for the program, because it really does provide that path. But at the time it was created, they were very separate. And so now we're really focused on bringing it together to make that a lot easier for people. So by next annual meeting, that problem will be done and we'll be on to something else. All right. Well, I think that's it. I don't see any more chat, and I don't see any hands raised. So this time really, oh, look at that. One more chat just to make sure. Very good. Okay. It wasn't more questions. Have a great day, everybody, or great night, or great morning, whatever it may be where you are. And do really appreciate your attention. That's a long session to hang in there for. But do appreciate it, and keep the ideas, thoughts, suggestions coming. We always appreciate it. So thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you to
Thank
you.
you so much.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Sorry.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Please continue
Bye-bye.
joining us in our next meetings.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.